Hi guys, this is Vineet and in today's video we will discuss about backup and restore of system databases in SQL Server. Before we proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. There is a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. You will get a bell icon. Click on that bell icon and select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. Now, why should you subscribe to my channel? There are some of the reasons I mentioned. Apart from that, you may have your own reasons as well. So let me go through the reasons which I mentioned. Subscribe because you need to excel in your career and achieve job with high salary package. Subscribe because you are getting best SQL content on this channel with in-depth discussion of concepts. Subscribe because we are providing in-depth training on SQL Server and not just providing surface level knowledge. Subscribe because you need to master SQL Server. Subscribe because you do not have time to go through books and want to learn through videos and practice the content in your lab environment. Let me share some of the motivational tips to gain mastery in SQL Server. So some of these tips are: try to spend at least 3 to 4 hours per day watching SQL Server videos on my channel in case you are doing a 9-hour job shift. Otherwise, you have a whole day to spend watching my videos. Utilize Saturdays and Sundays fully to cover all my videos and all of my playlists. Links are given in the description area. Don't waste your time, especially on these 2 days, the Sundays and the Saturdays. Take break for 15 minutes after watching videos every hour. Take care of your health so that you can focus all your energy and efforts on learning SQL stuff. Show dedication towards advancing your career by investing more of your time in learning and getting a job with high salary package. So dedication is required from your end, guys. Be dedicated towards learning SQL Server and you will gain mastery in a short span of time. There are some points to remember while watching this video. Please watch this video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept, and if it's possible for you, please watch the video twice. Perform any exercises in your lab and test environments only. Do not touch any production environment or production databases. We would like to know your thoughts regarding our videos, so please do share your comments with us. We eagerly wait for them, guys. Now, if you want to get PDF copy of the notes that are discussed during the video, you may do that. So there are two methods for getting the PDF notes. First one is the paid method, where you need to just send me the title of the video over the email to my email address vermavane@gmail.com. Upon receiving your email, I will send you the payment link, and upon making the payment, you can download the PDF notes. Second method is free method, basically where you just need to subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will change to subscribed button from subscribe button. So once it is changed to subscribed, then you can take a screenshot of that time, and the screenshot should include the subscribe button as well as my channel name as well as the video title, and you can send that screenshot to me over to my email address vermavane@gmail.com. So upon receiving your email, I will check your subscription status as well as the title of the video and send you the PDF notes via the email. I've created some playlists for you to watch. Links are available in the video description area. Some of these playlists are SQL Server Database Design Playlist, SQL Server Tables, Business Continuity, SQL Server Indexing, SQL Server Performance Tuning, and SQL Server Integration Services. Apart from this playlist, these total playlist contains around more than 100 videos, so please watch them playlist by playlist so that you can get a grasp. Apart from that, I have a channel page which is at youtube.com/@SQL Talks by Vineet. Visit my channel page. There also you see a subscribe button. You can subscribe from there as well. Apart from that, you will find a playlist that is particularly curated for you, and apart from that playlist, there's a list on recent and trending videos. You can watch that playlist out as well, and apart from that, all the mentioned above playlist will also be there on my channel page. Now let's come back to today's topic, which is backup and restore of system databases in SQL Server. So this will basically be a theoretical session, so be ready for that. There won't be any practicals in this session. So let me select my pen pointer. So today's topic is backup and restore of system databases, and this will be a theoretical session. Let's continue. So SQL Server maintains a set of system level databases called the system databases. Let me show that to you what are system databases. So I've invoked the SQL Server, and in the meantime SQL Server is invoking. So let's go through the theory. So these system databases are pretty much essential for the operation of SQL Server instance. Several of the system databases must be backed up. So some of the system databases must be backed up as well after every significant update to the system. The system databases, let me select do not recover and let me connect to the instance of the database. So here on the left hand side and inside the object explorer, you can expand the databases section. Under that you have a system databases section. So here it is showing to us 4 databases that are visible: master, model, MSDB and TempDB. These are known as system databases. You can watch out my other videos on the system databases where I've covered each database individually, so check it out. Now the system databases that you must back up include the MSDB, master and model. These 3 databases should be backed up at the constant intervals. We will discuss how much will be that interval so soon. So these 3 databases you should be backing up on a regular basis. If any database uses replication on the server instance, so if replication is configured on your server, we must also see a backup. We must also take a backup of distribution system database. So if a replication is configured on your system, you will, under the system databases, you will also see a distribution database. So that distribution system database you should back up if a replication is configured in your environment. Now backup of these system databases let you restore and recover the SQL Server system after a system failure. So in case system failure happens, if we have a backup of these 3 databases and the distribution system database, we should be able to restore and recover the SQL Server system. So talking about failures, these failures include the loss of storage, device, etc. And if you have a backup of these databases, the SQL Server system can be restored and recovered. Now let's go through this table. The first column is the system database. Its second column is its description. Third column is covering whether backup of that database is required. Next one is what should be the recovery model, or what's the default recovery model of that database. And next is the comment section where we are discussing some comments. So let's go through it one by one. So first let's talk about the master database. And the description of this database is that this database records all of the system level information for a SQL Server system. So all of the system level information is stored inside the master database inside SQL Server system, and we need backup of this database, and the model of this database is simple. Now let's go through some of the comments, so which is telling us about the backup frequency. So backup master as often as necessary to protect the data sufficiently for your business needs. So there should be frequent master database backups, basically to protect the data sufficiently for your business needs. And the recommendation is you should have a regular backup schedule, which you can supplement with an additional backup after a substantial update. So you should take a regular backup at certain schedule, or if there is some major update to the system, then yeah, you should be taking a backup immediately after that major update. Transaction log backups of master are not supported, so we cannot take transaction log backups on the master database. Now the next database is the model database, which basically this database acts as template for all the databases that are created on the instance of the SQL Server. So any new database that we create on the SQL Server, the model database acts as a template for those databases, those newly created databases. And yeah, we should back up this database, and we can change the recovery model of this database so it's user configurable. Now let's go through some of the comments regarding this database. So backup model only when necessary for your business needs. So we shouldn't be taking regular model database backups. So we take only backup when it is required as per business needs. Now for example, if immediately after customizing its database options. So if we make any changes to a model database, then yeah, we should take backup immediately for that database. And let's talk about the best practice. Recommendation is that you create only full database backup of model as required. So only full database backups are required for model database, and because model database is small and rarely changes, backing up the log is unnecessary for this database. So we should always be taking full database backup, and those two only required if we are making any changes to model database. Third database is the MSDB database, and this database is used by SQL Server agent service for scheduling alerts and jobs. So all the alerts and job information gets stored in this MSDB database. So this database is basically used by SQL Server agent to fetch that information regarding these scheduling alerts and jobs, and for recording operators. MSDB also contains history tables for backups and restore history tables. So backup and restore history tables are also stored in the MSDB database. And yes, we should be backing up this database, and the default recovery model is simple, which is the default model, and we should back up MSDB database whenever it is updated. Now let's talk about resource DB or RDB, you can say, which is basically a read-only database that contains the copy of system objects that ship with the SQL Server. So this is a binary file basically. So it's a database which is a read-only database. It is not available over here visually, but yeah, it is available in the form of files. We have discussed it in one of our videos, so please check that out. It should be in the business continuity playlist. So it's a read-only database that contains copy of all the system objects basically that ship with the SQL Server, and we shouldn't be backing up this database, and there's no recovery model tied to this database. And let's go through some comments. The resource database resides in this particular MDF file. So MS SQL system resource.mdf file is the file where the resource database exists. So this is the file for resource database, and this file basically only contains the code. Therefore SQL Server can't back up the resource database. So this file only contains the code, and therefore SQL Server cannot back up this database. And there's a note: you can perform a file based or disk based backup on. So we can tell file based backup on this particular file, MS SQL system resource MDF file, by treating it as a file as if it were if it's another binary file instead of a database file. But you can't use SQL Server restore on the backups. Restoring the backup copy of this MS SQL system resource.mdf can only be done manually. So these backup of this file can be and the restore can be done manually, and we must be careful not to override the current resource database file with an out of date or potentially insecure version. So we should make sure that the file we are restoring should be safe and not from an insecure resource, and it shouldn't be out of date. The last database is the not the last but second last, yeah, it's TempDB, and basically it acts as a workspace for holding temporary result sets, temporary or intermediate result sets. So it's a temporary storage for that. The database is recreated every time an instance of SQL Server is started or restarted. Whenever the server instance is shut down, any data in TempDB is deleted permanently. So at the server shutdown, all the data in the TempDB gets removed permanently, and whenever we start the SQL Server instance, the database is created at that point in time. It gets recreated every time. We shouldn't be backing up the TempDB. The recovery model is simple, and we cannot back up the TempDB system database. Now let's talk about configure distribution database. This database will be visible if we have configured replication on our system. So let's go through its description. So this database exists only if the server is configured as a replication distributor. The database stored metadata and history data for all types of replication, and transaction for transactional replication. Yeah, we should be taking backup of this database, and the recovery model of this database is simple. Now let's discuss regarding some of the limitations on restoring system databases. So there are some limitations involved in restoring the system databases. What are those limitations? System databases can be restored only from backups that are created on the same version of SQL Server. So it cannot be database backup taken on one version of SQL Server cannot be restored on the other version of SQL Server. So we should make sure that system databases can be backed up from the system which have the same SQL version as the system where we are restoring the database backups. So system databases can be restored only from backups that are created on the same version of SQL Server that the SQL Server instance is currently running on. For example, to restore a system database on a server instance that is running SQL Server 2016 with SP1, we must use a database backup that was created after the server instance was upgraded to SQL Server 2016 SP1. So lower version database backup cannot be restored on the higher version of SQL Server. So we should take that into consideration. To restore a database, the instance of the SQL Server must be running, and basically this is a general saying that if you want to restore any database, the SQL instance should be running, otherwise you will not be able to restore. Startup of an instance of SQL Server requires that the master database is accessible. So in order for SQL Server to start, this master database should be available, and if it is not available, we will get an error. So this master database should be accessible and should be in a at least in a partially usable state if you want SQL Server to start up. If master database become unusable, you can return the database to a usable state in either of the following ways. So if by any chance this the master database become unusual, there are certain ways you can make this take this database into a usable state. So first is you can restore the master database from the current database backup. So in case you have a master database backup, you can restore that master database backup. If you can start the server instance, you should be able to restore master from full database backup. So this is a situation where you are able to start the server instance. Then yeah, if you have a database backup, you can restore the master database from a database backup. Now another instance is you are not able to start the server instance. In that situation, you need to rebuild the master database completely. So it is talking about the situation if severe damage to the master, if there is a severe damage to the master database, which will basically prevent you from starting SQL Server, then in those cases you must rebuild master database. And rebuilding master database rebuild all of the system databases. So keep this point in mind. Rebuilding the master database rebuilds all of the system database in the system. And under some circumstances, problem recovering the model database might require rebuilding the system databases. So there are some circumstances as well where we find problems in recovering the model database. In those cases as well, we should give consideration to rebuilding the system databases or replacing the MDF and LDF of the model database. That can also be done if we have a file-based backup for the model database. That can also be done. So guys, we are done with this theory session. Maybe in next video we will try to cover the practical on how you can rebuild the master database in the situation where your total system is down. So for now we are done, and I thank you so much for your time on this video. If you are new to this channel, guys, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. There is a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. And apart from that, guys, please do send us your comments, suggestions, any questions, improvement suggestions, or anything you would like us to make, do send us your comments. We eagerly wait for them. And apart from that, if you have a huge network of friends, then yeah, and if they are dealing day to day with SQL Server, yeah, please share my videos with your friends, and also please ask them to subscribe to my channel. um, I would be really grateful for you. And yeah, that will make impact in their lives as well, as they will be going through the quality SQL contents once they subscribe to my channel. And once again, guys, I thank you so much for your time on this video today, and you have a wonderful day ahead.